For centuries, the narrative of pre-Columbian North America painted a picture of isolated indigenous tribes, disconnected from the broader world, until European ships arrived. Yet, beneath this oversimplified tale lies a more intricate story, one of sprawling trade networks, sophisticated metallurgy, and a mysterious copper civilization that thrived thousands of years ago. Emerging archaeological evidence suggests that ancient North Americans, particularly those around the Great Lakes, were not only masters of copper crafting, but also key players in a trade web that may have stretched far beyond the continent's borders. How far did these networks truly reach? The answer challenges everything we thought we knew about the ancient Americas, revealing a tapestry of connections that spanned continents and millennia. At the heart of this story is the old copper culture, a loosely defined group of indigenous peoples who, starting around 4000 BCE, began working with copper in what is now the upper Midwest of the United States and parts of Canada. Centered around Lake Superior, where some of the world's purest copper deposits are found, these early artisans didn't smelt or alloy the metal as later civilizations would. Instead, they used a technique called cold hammering, heating the copper just enough to make it malleable before shaping it into tools, weapons, and ornaments. This method, while labor-intensive, allowed them to create objects of remarkable durability and beauty without advanced furnaces or forges. The scale of their work is staggering. Archaeologists have uncovered tens of thousands of copper artifacts, spear points, knives, awls, beads, and even intricate jewelry, scattered across sites from Michigan to Wisconsin, and beyond. Some estimates suggest that over 500 tons of copper were mined from the Lake Superior region during this period, a feat that implies not just skill, but organization, possibly even a society structured around this resource. Recent studies of ancient mining pits on Isle Royale, an island in Lake Superior, reveal sophisticated extraction techniques, including the use of fire to crack rock and expose copper veins, an early form of thermal fracturing. What's most intriguing, however, isn't the craftsmanship alone, it's the distribution. Copper objects from the Great Lakes have turned up as far south as Louisiana, as far east as New York, and as far north as the Canadian Arctic. This raises a tantalizing question. Were these items carried by their makers, or were they traded through a vast, interconnected network that linked diverse cultures across thousands of miles? The idea of extensive trade in ancient North America isn't new, but the old copper culture adds a metallic twist to the tale. Evidence of long-distance exchange predates even the copper workers. By 7000 BCE, obsidian from Yellowstone was making its way to the Midwest, while marine shells from the Gulf Coast surfaced in the Ohio Valley. The copper culture, flourishing between 4000 and 1000 BCE, seems to have plugged into, and perhaps expanded, these existing networks. The sheer volume of copper artifacts found outside the Great Lakes suggests a level of commerce that rivaled later, more documented trade systems, like those of the Mississippian culture. Take, for example, the discovery of Lake Superior copper in the southeast. At sites linked to the Poverty Point culture in Louisiana, circa 1700 to 1100 BCE, archaeologists have found copper beads and tools chemically traced back to the Great Lakes, over 1,000 miles away. Poverty Point itself was a hub of commerce, its earthen mounds a testament to a society that imported exotic materials like galena from Missouri and chert from Arkansas. Copper, it seems, was just one thread in a tapestry of trade that crisscrossed the continent. The site's layout, with its concentric ridges and central plaza, hints at a ceremonial or market center, where goods from afar were exchanged, possibly during seasonal gatherings. Further north, copper artifacts have been unearthed in Inuit sites in the Arctic, dating back over 1,000 years. While these finds are younger than the old copper culture's peak, they hint at a legacy of exchange that persisted long after the copper miners faded from prominence. The metal's journey likely involved multiple hands, passed from tribe to tribe along rivers like the Mississippi and Mackenzie, through dense forests, and across icy coasts. Some scholars propose that these northern routes relied on sled dogs or canoes, technologies that would have facilitated the transport of heavy goods like copper over rugged terrain. Could these networks have reached beyond North America? The possibility is controversial, yet compelling. Some researchers point to similarities between North American copper work and artifacts from contemporaneous cultures elsewhere. For instance, the use of copper in the Near East and Europe surged around the same time the old copper culture emerged, with tools like awls and knives bearing striking resemblances in form, if not technique. While no direct evidence links these regions, the timing invites speculation about parallel developments, or even contact facilitated by forgotten voyages. More provocative are claims of transoceanic trade. In the 1970s, a shipwreck off the coast of Turkey, the Uluburun wreck, yielded copper ingots dated to 1200 BCE, some of which bore chemical signatures resembling Lake Superior copper. Skeptics argue this is coincidental, as copper deposits worldwide share similar isotopic traits. Yet, proponents of ancient seafaring, like the late historian Barry Fell, suggest that Phoenician or other maritime traders could have ventured across the Atlantic, tapping into North American resources. Recent studies of Norse settlements in Greenland, which date to around 1000 CE, have uncovered traces of copper that some argue could have originated in the Americas, hinting at pre-Columbian contact across the North Atlantic. Closer to home, there's the curious case of Mesoamerica. By 1000 CE, cultures like the Aztecs and Maya were renowned for their metallurgy, crafting copper bells, axes, and ornaments with alloys of tin and arsenic. Could Great Lakes copper have trickled south over millennia, influencing these traditions? While no definitive artifacts have surfaced, shared artistic motifs, like serpent imagery, found in both the Midwest's Hopewell culture and Mesoamerican art, hint at cultural exchange, if not direct trade. The Hohokam people of the Southwest, active around 200 to 1400 CE, also worked copper, and their proximity to trade routes leading north and south makes them a potential bridge between these worlds. Beyond the physical reach of copper, its trade likely shaped the societies involved. In the Great Lakes, the concentration of copper working sites suggests specialized communities such as miners, artisans, and traders, whose livelihoods depended on this resource. Burial sites from the period, such as those at the Riverside Cemetery in Michigan, contain copper alongside exotic items, like shells and obsidian, indicating that those who controlled the metal held status. This hints at a proto-economic system where copper wasn't just a tool, but a currency of prestige. In the Southeast, the Poverty Point culture's reliance on imported goods suggests a reciprocal relationship with northern suppliers. Perhaps they traded perishable items like feathers, hides, or medicinal plants that haven't survived the archaeological record. Meanwhile, in the Arctic, The presence of copper alongside walrus ivory and whalebone points to a maritime exchange network that may have linked coastal peoples across vast distances, foreshadowing the trade routes of late indigenous groups like the Thule. The old copper culture's decline around 1000 BCE remains a mystery. Some theorize that overexploitation depleted accessible copper veins, while others suggest a shift to new technologies, like stone or bone tools, made the metal less essential. Climate changes, such as the onset of cooler, wetter conditions, could have disrupted the trade networks that sustained it, isolating communities, or shifting migration patterns. Social upheaval, perhaps conflict over dwindling resources, might also have played a role. Whatever the cause, the copper workers left behind a legacy etched in metal, a testament to their ingenuity and reach. The story of North America's lost copper civilization isn't just about a shiny metal, it's about rethinking the past. Far from isolated, the people of the Great Lakes were part of a dynamic world, one where goods, ideas, and perhaps even stories, flowed across vast distances. Their trade networks, stretching from the Gulf of Mexico to the Arctic, and possibly beyond, reveal a continent buzzing with activity long before Columbus. The sophistication of their mining, crafting, and exchange challenges stereotypes of primitive societies, suggesting instead a web of interdependence that rivaled old world systems. How far did these networks truly reach? Without written records, we may never know the full extent. But each copper spear point, bead, or ore unearthed, whispers of a time when North America was anything but a new world. It was an ancient crossroads, its people connected in ways we're only beginning to understand. As archaeology digs deeper, using tools like isotopic analysis and 3D modeling to trace copper's journey, the lost copper civilization might just redraw the map of human history, linking the Americas to a global past we've yet to fully grasp. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on ancient mysteries, spirituality, and self-development.